Daf Mem Tes Amud Beis will begin Mem Tes Amud Aleph, 5 lines from the bottom. Amr Shmuel Eruv Mishum Kinyan. The mechanics of the Eruv, the way it works, is Mishum Kinyan. That a person, when they make the Eruv together, and they were talking over here about Eruv Chatzeres, when they make the Eruv together, it's Mishum Kinyan. That they each are considered by being mishtatif, by joining together and contributing some of the pas, the bread together, they acquire a dwelling, they acquire a residence in the house. So it's a kinyan. They acquires for them a right of residence, so to speak, in the house. So they're all considered to be living in the house, and that's why they're all joined together. Therefore, it's considered to be one ownership. It merges the ownership together, and therefore they're considered to be as one ownership, and it doesn't have the appearance of from a private, carrying from a private to a public domain. The reason why they required the Chumah required an Eruv is because if a person is in his house, which is a private residence, and he carries the Chatzer, which is a common, which is a residence in common, it has the appearance of carrying from a Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim. And this way, when they're all kind of together in this house, it's all considered to be as one resident. They're all living together in the same house. If you're saying it's Mishum Kinyan, so it's a Kinyan, why can't you use money? You should be able to use more, which is a silver denomination. You should be able to use money. More answers because it's not always common, it's not always readily available. On Erev Shabbos, it's not always readily available over there at that time, and therefore they instituted to use bread. Saisis explains that pas is what's most commonly available at the time. So on Erev Shabbos, pas is what's most commonly available, and therefore they instituted it with pas. And when it comes to sheets of mevuais, then they were broadened it, they were makel to use things other than pas. But for Eruv Chatzeres, that's what's most common in Erev Shabbos. That's why they instituted with pas. So for the Erev Mielik, okay, but if a person did use money for it, they should be able to be kind of with the money. If it's Mishum Kinyan, the Gemara answers, if we allow you to use money, people will think that really the Erev has to be done with money. It's a Kinyan, has to be done with money. And sometimes there won't be the money available. And people won't use pas because they'll think the Iker Erev is with money. And therefore, the Osi Erev look cooler. And then they won't make an Erev. And that will mimikalkal, that will ruin the Takana of Erev. Therefore, they instituted that it should be Davka with pas. That's Shmuel's shita. But Rabba Omar, he says, Mishum Dira. It's not Mishum Kinyan, it's Mishum Dira. People live where their food is, that's where they consider it to be dwelling, that's where they live. So if everybody puts their food in that one house, they're considered to be living in that house. So they're all living in the same house. My Beinayu, what's the nafkamina between them? Ika Beinayu, Kli. If he used for the Erev instead of bread, he used the Kli. So if you say it's Mishum Kinyan, then you can make a Kinyan, suitor with a Kli. The Kli should help. But if you say it's Mishum Dira, the Iker Dira is where you eat, so the Kli won't help. Or in a case where it's less than a Shava Pruta. If you have bread that's less than a Shava Pruta, if it's Mazan Shtei Sudas, and you have a Mazan Shtei Sudas of bread, so then you have a dira, according to Mandar and Mishum Dira, you have a dira, you have your food, 2 meals with. But if it's Mishum Kinyan, if it's Pachas Mishava Pruta, then it shouldn't help, it won't help, because you can't make a Kinyan, you can't make acquire something, an acquisition with less than a Shava Pruta, so it won't help. The cotton. And if you use a cotton to collect the bread, it's Mishum Dira, so the fact that a cotton is collecting the bread and putting it in a particular house is not a problem because your bread is in that house. That's where your Dira is. But it's Mishum Kinyan, you can't make a cotton a shliach to make a Kinyan, so therefore it would not help. So those are the nafkaminas between them. Taisus asks that if you have pas and the pas is shava pruta, it's worth a pruta, why do you need mosen shtei sudas? If you're going to be married even with a kli, so as long as there's a shava pruta with the pas, why does it have to be mosen shtei sudas? Tosa says that you can be married with a kli, it's only if you're mefarish, you say explicitly that you want to do it mishum kinyan, and you want to make a kinyan. Then you can be me'arav with a kli, but otherwise you need a davar chashivas, and you need, therefore, min hastam, you would need mozan shtei sudas, pas of mozan shtei sudas. So that's enough. Kaminav mishum kinyan or mishum dira. According to you, is a kasha l'shmul kasha? It's kasha according to both of you. Tanya, we learned in the Brisa, Eruvin, 5 people, they were residents of Chotzer. They were ma'arav together, they collected together their pas, they made an Eruv. Now they want to be ma'arav together with a different Chotzer. When they take their Eruv to another place, one person can take the Eruv on behalf of all of them. And then they can merge the two Chatzeres. Who need the kakoni? Well, if it's Mishum Kinyan, then it's only him, that individual made a Kinyan, but not the rest of them. Who needed the Kadayar? And it's only he who is considered living in the other Chatzer. But not the other ones. Amalei answers, the Kasha, Shmuel Kasha, it's not a Kasha on either of us. Why is that? Because shlich is the kula go'avit. Because that one person is making a shlich. He's a shaliach. He's a messenger for all the rest of them. So therefore, he is a shaliach, either to make a kinyan on their behalf or to put the pas over there and to create their dira on their behalf. He's a shaliach, so it's not a kasha. So the Gemara doesn't resolve whether we hold that it's mishum dira, mishum kinyan. Going back to the case of our Mishnah, in the case of the Mishnah about the 3 chatzeres who are open to each other and open to the Rishos Harabim, then Rosh Shimon says that each one can carry with the middle, but the 2 outside ones can't carry with each other. Halacha is like Rosh Shimon. That's how we paskin. Zok the Mishnah, Misha Bora B'derech V'chashla. If a person was traveling and now Shabbos was coming and he can't get to his house. So we're talking now in a case where he is within 4,000 amas of his house. If he has a tchum, he can carry 2,000 amas. If he has make a tchum, he made a dirham, he made an eruv rather, you can carry 2,000 amas in each direction. Now if his house is less than 4,000 amas, it's under 4,000 amas, but it's more than 2. It's almost 4,000 amas. So how can he get to his house? So the way he can get to his house is if he knows a place, if he identifies a place that's within 2,000 amas of where he's standing on the onset of Shabbos, he can designate that place to be his shvisa. And that place, he'll be kind of Erev in that place, as long as it's accessible to him on the onset of Shabbos. So if it's within 2,000 amas of where he is standing, then it's accessible to him. That can be his shvisa. He can be kinda the Eruv in that place. And now if that place, the house, his house or his city is within 2,000 amas of that designated place, then that his house is within his tchum. And therefore, he can carry up to 4,000 amas and reach his house. So that's what we're discussing in the Mishnah. Misha b'derech v'chashlo, he was traveling in Erev Shabbos and it became dark, and he can't get home in time. And he knew that there was a certain particular tree or a certain fence. V'omar, she saw sitachtav, and he said, my shvisa should be underneath it, should be underneath the tree, for instance. Lo yamar klum. It's not valid. He hasn't been kaina his erev over there because it's not a specific designated place. But if he says she saw to be ikra, but if he said it should be in my trunk, it should be rather in the trunk of the tree. So he's designated an area for a dalet amos area, the trunk of the tree. If he designated that spot, a designated dalet amos area, then he's kind of shvisa. Then then he can travel from where he is standing to the trunk of the tree if it's within 2,000 amas. And from there he has 2,000 amas in each direction, so he can travel from there 2,000 amas to his house. And if his house is within 2,000 amas, he can reach his house. So therefore he can walk from where he is 4,000 amas. But if he doesn't know of a particular tree, he doesn't have a specific location where he can say my shvisa will be in that particular location. He has 4,000 amas. He's kind of shvisa in his spot where he is, and he's kind of his shvisa 2,000 amas in each direction. He's kind of, and Tesis explains, he doesn't even have to declare anything. From where he is, he's kind of 2,000 amas. That's his Malkum Shvisa, and he's kind of the Tchum Shabbos from that spot. Now, when we say that he has 4,000 amas, so the Mishnah says agules. We measured the 2,000 amas in each direction as a circle. That's the Ruchanina ben Antiknes. But v'chamoyim murubas, they say a square, ketavla murubas, like a square board. Kedei sheyeh niskar l'saviyas. So then he'll gain the corners, the extra area that the square has more than a circle. So according to Ruchanina ben Antiknes, he measured as a circle. And therefore, we'll view him as the middle of the circle. He has 2,000 amas in each direction. So the diameter of the circle is 2,000 amas. But the Chum say no, we view it as a square. And therefore, we say he has 2,000 amas, you square off the area, it's 2,000 amas, he's niskar b'zavias, and he gets the extra area of the corners. This isn't accurate, of course, because the circle, it would be more like this. If you view the circle, just look at one side of it. If we look at it this way, so the circle has a diameter of 2,000 amas, and the square has 2,000 by 2,000. But here you gain this area of the corners, which therefore the diameter is 2,000. But if you took the diagonal here, it increases by 1.4, so it's 2,800 to this corner. To the corner over here, it's 2,800. So you have that, and they have that on four sides. So therefore the Chum say, we look at it like a tavla merubas. V'zuhi shamra, in this case, when we have the traveler, so we're talking about the traveler, he has in his spot from where he is, he has his shisa, he has his kind of shisa, he has his tchum. V'zuhi shamra, ha'ani mar v'raglav, that a per person can be marv with his feet. He doesn't have any food over here. He doesn't have pas of shtei sudas, but nevertheless, he's kind of shvisa. He has his tchum. So this is where we said that you can be kind of an eruv even without pas. So in this case, by a traveler, an oni, he has no food, and therefore he can be kind of without food. Amar Rav Meir, anu ein lanu el oni. And Rav Meir says it's only in the case of an oni that we permit this, but don't permit it if a person has food. He says he must use it. Amar Rav Meir says, so that's what Rav Meir says. Rav Yehuda omer echad oni ve'echad asher. Rav Yehuda says no. Even an asher, a person who has pas, he could also be ma'ar beraglav. If he walks to the designated place where he wants his tchum to be, where he wants to be kind of shvisa, he could also do it. And he doesn't have to take the pas. He can also walk over there. Lo yamru ma'arvim bepas, ela lahakel ela asher shelo yetzu v'ar beraglav. The requirement for pas was a kula. It wasn't a requirement, an absolute requirement. It was made over there to make it easier for the wealthy person that he doesn't have to go by foot and make his physical presence at the Erev. But it's not an absolute requirement. So the Mishnah said that if a person does not identify the spot on the tree, he doesn't identify the trunk, it's lo yamar klum. It's meaningless. He hasn't done anything. So my lo yamar klum, what does it mean lo yamar klum? Amar Rav lo yamar klum kolikir. He is not he has kind of any shvisa at all, and therefore he has only dalet amas. So he's not being kind of dafilo l'tacht of shalila l'motze also. He can't even go to the tacht of the Elon because he doesn't even have 2,000 amas. He's relinquished the makam shvisa where he's standing. He said he wants it to be under the tree, so he's abandoned the makam shvisa where he's standing. So he's not kind of shvisa here, and he's not kind of shvisa there. So all he has is dalet amas. He can't even go to the tree, let alone to his house. Shmuel Amar Lo Yamar Klum Lebeisa. Shmuel says when it says Lo Yamar Klum means he's accomplished nothing. It does not allow him to get to his house. He is Lo Yamar Klum Lebeisa to get to his house. Avalatachta Shalila and Matzi also, but he could get to the tree. However, he is limited. Benase Tachta Shalila Chamar Gamal. Underneath of the tree, it's like a chamar gamal, like a camel driver and a donkey driver. He's being pulled in each direction because he has not identified where under the tree his shvisa is, and therefore it could be any part of the tree. So therefore, it's a chamar gamal. We say, well, if he was on this part of the tree, if the shvisa is on, let's say, to the north, then he has 2,000 amas in each direction. So, and then he has, we would say the 2,000 amas is over here. If we say that it could be anywhere, or it could be that it's over here, which means he has 2,000 amas starting from here. So when he measures where he is, where he's standing, he has to take all the chumras into account. So possibly his tchum is here, which means that the 2,000 amas is measured from this part of the tree, and it extends over here, which means that he's limited to 2,000 amas from here. It could be that it's 2,000 amas from here, but he doesn't know that. So he's limited that he can't go from the tree 2,000 amas this way, because maybe his tchum is from here. So when it comes to this direction, he has to be machmir and say, well, possibly his tchum is over here, and he measures the 2,000 amas from here. When it comes to this direction, he can't assume that the tchum is here and go 2,000 amas from here. He has to go 2,000 amas only from here. So for instance, if this area here is 100 amas, he can only go 1,900 amas in that direction, not 2,000 amas in that direction. So therefore, when if he wants to measure from the north, we say no, you have to measure it from the south. But if he wants to measure it from the south, we have to say no, could be it's on the north. So he loses the area under the tree. That is subtracted from each direction because he could be on the further extreme of the tree. So in each direction, you have to subtract that area under the tree. But Shmuel says, nevertheless, he is kind of somewhere under the tree. We just don't know where. But so he is kind of to get to the tree, but you have to subtract that area that's under the tree.